head of advocacy, media, and communications for the Middle East at the Norwegian Refugee Council. Samah, thanks for joining us. And do you think after 10 years of war in Syria and then the threat of ISIS and the battles in both of those countries, this has been the looming threat that has somewhat gotten lost in the shuffle until it reaches a crisis?
It's really, really concerning that we're witnessing this water crisis and drought affecting war-ravaged Syria, but also Iraq, where countries are already facing a humanitarian crisis and mass displacement. The Norwegian Refugee Council is very much concerned about the millions of people in these countries that may lose access to drinking water, to regular water, but also are affected by electricity shortages and potentially in the future may face a hunger crisis because of this drought and this water crisis. You know, both countries, Iraq and Syria, are facing the worst drought in modern history. And this is largely caused by reductions in water from the Euphrates River that originates in Turkey. It's also caused by low rainfall, which is record low this year, and of course climate change that is already impacting millions in the region, but will no doubt continue to put millions at risk from not only environmental impacts, but also food, agricultural impacts and water shortages. So we're really urging parties in the region, particularly Turkey, to find a solution to sharing water resources in a more sustainable and fair way so that millions of people don't lose access to water in the future. But we also need countries in the region to ramp up their efforts to tackle climate change, because this is going to be a growing problem for the Middle East. And of course, the international community really needs to step up its assistance for displaced communities, but also farmers who are struggling with this drought.
You know, we've been warned about exactly this situation for a very long time by climate experts. But given the fact that human behavior doesn't change soon enough to prevent tragedies like this, especially in Iraq and Syria, do you think there would have been anything that would have helped prevent or prepare for this over the last 10 years? Given that climate change is a major cause, would there have been anything that these governments or people would have been able to do?
Well, this isn't the first time that the region has faced a water crisis of this nature. And you know, in the past, we have also seen reductions in water flows from the Euphrates River flowing into Iraq and Syria. So I think that this alarming situation requires all parties in the region to find a solution to share water quantities more fairly and sustainably, so that we don't come across this situation yet again. But we also need countries to take climate change more seriously. You know, we're seeing now the effects of climate change on very vulnerable groups, especially displaced communities. What we fear is that this will result in further waves of displacement. And countries like Syria and Iraq have already been hit by mass displacement and really can't face or cope with another crisis of this nature.
Is the only thing that would help these people at this point additional funding?
Well, we do need additional assistance in the form of cash assistance, assisting crops for farming communities in Iraq and in Syria, because the regions that are hit the hardest, that are drought-stricken, are actually those areas that are the breadbasket, that are the source of food and wheat production for millions in these two countries. So we do need international assistance to support agricultural production, to support farmers in need, and to avert a hunger crisis from taking place. But we also desperately need for water levels to be increased and for Turkey and other neighboring countries to increase water levels into the Euphrates, into the Tigris River, that millions of Syrians and Iraqis rely on.
All right, Samah, thank you so much for bringing us the details on this.